Hello?
Hello.
Who's this?
Who's this?
This is Coach Keith Crawley with the Grand Junction Gators.
Hi, Keith. Glad to have
Is
you
it
guys
Julie?
joining us. This is Linda
Hi,
Lapp with
Keith.
Special Olympics Colorado.
Hey. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. This is Ben Hansen here with Denver.
Hi, Ben. Did we miss anybody else that was able to get on?
Me, I think. Sorry, I just jumped on. This is Kylan Strucker. I'm with the STAR program in South Suburban.
Awesome. All right. Well, my name is Linda Laffey, and I'm the Senior VP of Competition and Regional Services. And we want to welcome you to the flag football seasonal conference call. It's something that we've started with some of our other sports and have seen some pretty good results as we go into regional and state events. So we're excited that you're on the call and that you made the time. We want to be as efficient with this call as we can, make sure we get you all the pertinent statewide information, and ultimately try to be as consistent as possible to make sure that your athletes and you have a great season, because we know that consistency for all of you is extremely important as you guys get ready to prepare for practices and different things like that. So before we go any further, I want to just make sure that everybody is on mute. There's a little bit of background noise. If you're on your computer, for sure make sure that you're on mute. That seems to be the hardest thing to figure out. I can also mute you if I see that it's a distraction, but I would rather not do that if possible, just because if you have a question, then it's hard to ask that. So if you guys could just make sure that everybody goes to mute so we don't hear that background noise, that would be fantastic.
And this is Julie. Sorry, Linda. The phone's mute as well, which helps a lot.
Exactly. On this call, we have our regional managers. We also have Ben Rubel and Shaka as well to answer any questions. We don't have our normal staff because there's a ceremony that they had to go to at Mullen High School tonight, but we'll do our best job to answer any questions that you may have. Just a reminder that this is a state call. Any region-specific questions that you have, we are more than happy to answer them. If you want to just hold on to them until the end of the conference call, we'll have our regional managers stay on the line as well as everybody else that is with Special Olympics Colorado, and we'll be able to answer any region-specific questions that you may have. With that, is there any questions before we get started? So we're just going to kind of go through, first of all, dates. Hopefully you all were able to receive the agenda, but dates for the regionals, just so everybody knows, on the west, October 27th, you guys will be at Canyon View Park on the Prairie Field, and entries will be due to Julie by October 17th. In Denver, we will be going Saturday, September 29th at Lowry Sports Complex Park. Entries will be due to Adrian, September 17th. And then in the Northeast, October 6th at Fossil Ridge High School in Fort Collins. Entries will be due to Jeff on September 24th. In the Southeast, you guys can choose if you want to go to the Denver Regional or the Northeast Regional. If you really wanted to go out west, you could go out west too. We just don't have quite enough teams to have a Southeast Regional yet. We would love to work to make that happen. We need about 12 teams in order to run a Southeast Regional. So I know Michelle is working to continue to add more athletes and find more coaches to coach some teams so we can also have a regional down there in the future. But for this year, you guys can either go to the Denver or the Northeast. Go ahead and submit your entries to Michelle. For instance, if you're going to the Denver Regional, submit your entries to Michelle by September 17th. State this year will be on November 3rd. We had good luck with the weather this last year at the beginning of November, so we're crossing our fingers, hoping that will stay the same. That will be up at CSU at Fort Collins. There's a map included in our state information. Any state stuff that you need to find, which we'll go over a little bit later, is going to be all on this web page if you're on the internet, if you're on the website, and you can see the CSU map with where everything will be. But I know Jeff Franklin will be able to go over that a little bit later. But mark the calendar, that'll be on November 3rd. And then just a reminder, we want everybody to practice eight weeks before state. It's impossible, we know, to practice 8 times before your regional. Some of you, I know that a couple of those regionals are pretty early, so get as many, obviously, practices in as you can, but we definitely want you to be able to practice with your athletes 8 weeks before state. And then just a reminder, I think we have some really veteran coaches on with us right now, but you have to attend a regional to be able to attend the state competition. Any questions with the dates for any of our regionals or state?
So you said Canyon, nope. It's at Canyon View Park for the western area for regionals?
Canyon View Park, yep, Prairie Field.
Yeah, Prairie Field where we had Bocce at.
Yep.
Is that true, Julie?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
All right, moving on to coaches' resources, what you guys need to know in terms of getting to a regional, getting to state. There's a few things that are very similar, but hopefully we've had a chance to really look at divisioning, and we'll go over some of those things. To find this on the website, you're just going to go to the Get Involved tab, and you'll go to Coach. This is also just a reminder where you're going to find the Class A if you need to renew your coach registration, your Class A, or if coaches that you're coaching with or new coaches, have them go through Become a Coach. If you just need to renew a concussion training, you can see that link as well. So coaching resources will give us a lot of the things that we need to get to, and you can scroll down and you can see the coach handbook there. And the first thing we're going to do is the thing that you're going to want to go to probably is by sport, and that is listed alphabetically by sport, and you'll scroll down to flag football. In flag football, you'll see pretty much everything that you need in order to get through the season. So the first thing you'll see is this is the state information, 2018 state flag football fact sheet and map, just kind of what we saw. We'll go over principles of meaningful involvement in a second, and then you're going to see your coach roster and team entry form. So I guess to start, Chop, why don't you go ahead and hit on, as you start to division, especially this is for unified play. Obviously, if you play traditional, this won't come into play for you, but for any of our unified teams, this will come into play, and it's something that we've really tried to enforce with all of our team sports, and it seems to be going pretty well, and it gives people a pretty good understanding of how they can coach their partners and their athletes. Chop, you want to go ahead and hit that? Hello? Chop, are you talking?
Yeah, I'm here. Ben's actually he's trying to connect right now, so Ben's going to do it.
Okay, great.
Ben, you there, buddy?
Yeah. So for defensive meaningful involvement, we want to ensure that every player has the opportunity to contribute to the success of the team. And that might mean that someone is your pass blocker. That might mean someone's your all-time rusher. But making sure everyone plays a vital role in the team and has an opportunity to play without risk of injury, that's another key part of it. We don't want to see a really low-function athlete playing on a level 1 or level 2 team. At that point, it's just unsafe for the athlete if they're just kind of standing there and the players are flying by. And likewise, we don't want to see a high-function athlete playing a level 4 team. That's just kind of unsafe for those athletes involved. So the goal is that every teammate should play a meaningful role and should have an opportunity to contribute using his or her strengths to the unified sports team. And then do you guys want me to go over levels really quickly now, Linda, or was that later in the call?
No, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Let me pull it up.
So level 1 is going to be a fast-paced game. athletes and partners, you're not going to really be able to tell the difference here. And there's a good flow to the game. And the players have the ability to make long plays down the field. And the athletes have a good knowledge of the rules and have a high skill level, and they can adjust, and they don't need to be kind of coached up on the field. The officials are going to call this game very closely, kind of similar to what you'll see an adult league or college rec game called like. Level 2, it's still going to be pretty fast-paced. Athletes and partners are still punching at a high pace, but the skill level might be slightly noticeable, the difference in it, and that's the difference between level 1 or level 2. And partners and athletes should complement each other in this level. And they're also, the officials are going to call this game really closely still, just like a level 1 game. A level 3 is a slower-paced game where you're going to see more handoffs and shorter passes. You're not going to see as many balls downfield. The athletes are still learning the game, and they're going to support the partners and coaches. The partners are going to be like coaches on the field. The athletes are going to learning how to be running the plays and read changes in the play and how to adjust on defense. The partners are going to be mentoring on the field. We don't like the term coaching. They're going to be mentoring. They're going to be showing the athletes where to line up on offense and defense, going over their routes with them, and kind of mentoring them along during the course of the play. The officials are going to be calling penalties in this level, but they're not going to be calling it as tight and as close as a level 1 or 2. They're going to be more understanding. And then level 4 is going to be a slow-paced game, but the integrity of the game is still going to be intact. It's going to be mostly handoffs or very, very short passes. The athletes are still learning the skills, so that's something that we're going to work with the officials with to make sure that they know that they are that it's going to be a slower game and to kind of keep an eye out for it and kind of work with the players. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay.
All right, thanks, Ben. And then on that sheet, if you're online, if you're on the website, you can see that link in blue that I'm hovering over. That actually has some video from last season that we were able to put together. This is still a work in progress. We still have levels that we need to capture with this, but it's a start of how you can division your players. So if you're a unified flag football team, you can see are unified there, traditional. If you're in high school coaching or if you're coaching youth, just gives you a good idea if you're divisioning your team. They're pretty short videos, like 2.5 to 3.5 minutes, and it just goes through all the different levels that you'd be seeing as you go through. So this first one is going to be level 1 if you're on the screen. And for instance, this first play, you're going to see an athlete throw a ball to a partner way down the field, very good accuracy, nice catch, and then she's able to take it and run with it. So, you know, if you're looking at your team and you're saying there's no way we can compete with that, then you'd probably division yourself in more of a 2 division, possibly a 3 division. So that just kind of takes you through, will take you through a bunch of different clips. And like I said, we still have some work to do to get some even better clips that really show the plays. Obviously, we tried to show the highlights. So obviously, as we know in sports, they don't all work as that first play works, but in general, you can kind of see some of the things that we reference on the level sheet. Any questions about divisioning your team? The other form that you can use on the website is the level for rating individual players, and this says for coach use only. And you can kind of go down and see for each player how to rate each player. This form we do not need. It just is a template for you to look at as if you're having trouble figuring out your team members. And then ultimately, you're going to take that and you're going to fill out the team entry form. This is a form, I think, very similar to form to what we used last year. I know if you've coached softball, volleyball, or basketball, any team sport this year, it's probably been exactly the same. So you're going to go fill out your region, your program name, coach's name. This coach email, any assistant coaches that you want to also receive emails from regional managers and our state director, Susan, please put their emails in there as well so they can just be on the email list. And then you're going to go through, you're going to write partner athlete name. I've actually provided a sample that we can look at just so you know exactly what it should look like other than Randy Savage. Athlete, partner, male, female, date of birth, and then you can see this overall rating here. And you can see that even though this is a level 1 team, not every single player is a level 1 player. But as Ben said, the more that this level 3 player, you may have him be a blocker, but he has to also have some understanding of the game. He has to be able to kind of know plays. So he might be a little bit higher in some areas, but maybe he's not as athletic or mobile, can't necessarily pass and catch like you saw in the video, but he can have a really important role on that team in order to help that team win. And that's more than okay to have a couple of those, maybe 3s, even on a level 1 team. You just don't want a ton of them, and you want to be very careful. For instance, this one's a partner, and so making sure that they know their role and what they do to help the team. All right. The other thing you're going to fill out when it says those entry forms are due, the other thing you're going to fill out is this coach roster. Pretty self-explanatory. Please don't list any partners on this. They will be on that list, the sample, the entry form that we just saw. This will be for your coaching staff members only. And just a reminder, anybody over the age of 18 that's a coach has to go through the concussion training. That's a requirement now, coming from a lot higher up than Special Olympics Colorado. So please be sure to have them do that. If they go fill out the Class A, that's just included in that. For anybody that's done one of those recently, it pretty much takes you through everything that is needed right there in one shot. It's pretty easy to do. Okay, the only other thing that I wanted to mention is if you have a young team or you have a team that you're really coaching up from the regional to state and you think they're, obviously we as a staff watch a lot of the games and we help Susan when it comes time to divisioning to make sure that we have really competitive games. My goal and our goal at Special Olympics is to make sure that both teams have a shot to win in the last 5 minutes of the game. I mean, I think that makes a really, really fun environment where neither team has to hold back, neither team has to tell their athletes or partners to calm down. Everybody can compete at their highest level in order to have a shot to win the game. And so that's ultimately what we're trying to do in divisioning. And so the more resources that we can help you with to better do that, I think is really important. But we think we did our jobs poorly when there are blowout games. So we're going to try really, really hard not to have that happen. Also, just so we know, there is individual skills. So for those players that aren't ready to compete at one of those 4 levels, we have individual skills that we do. I really encourage you to look at this individual skills score sheet, or actually the information and instructions. There's actually some really fun drills you can do with your team. So even if you don't have individual skills players, there's some kind of neat ways to see how your players are doing and some things that you can take and use as some drills if you want. With that, we will get into any important rules to note.
All right, everyone, I'm going to run through this pretty quick. It's pretty basic stuff and stuff that has come up, I feel like, over and over each year. So across the board in team sports, our ages of athletes, 16 and up have to be on adult teams. We've had people sign up before with like a 12-year-old on a team with like 50 and 60-year-olds. We just can't have that. That's a huge safety and liability issue on both ends of the spectrum. So please keep that in mind. If you do have a specific situation, please just reach out to your regional manager if you have a question about that. But everything in our power-wise, we're going to not accept this at all. So keep that in mind. Flags this year, 1-piece flag belt with the 3 separate flags on it, 2 on the side, 1 on the back. If you do not have these, if you guys are using the flags that are 3 individual flags that are like Velcroed on or tied on somehow, those are not going to be acceptable. If you do have those and you need the acceptable flags that we will be using this year, please contact your regional manager and we will set you up ASAP. The side snap, this seemed to be the biggest point of emphasis last year. Technically, in Special Olympics rules, we're supposed to snap through the legs, like the regular football, NFL, college, all that stuff. The side snap isn't allowed. So please start coaching your team to have a center that can snap the ball between their legs. No pockets in shorts. Shorts and flags are a different color. The no pockets is just a safety hazard. So easy to break a finger. Everything is non-contact. Obviously, it's a fast-paced physical play game, and things may happen. And just please trust in the officials to make the calls when they happen. But sometimes there's going to be collisions and people are going to fall down. So it is football. We'll work through it. Just be sure to communicate with the officials at your regional tournament, at the state tournament, and regional managers or Special Olympics staff if you have any questions. Another point of emphasis was the rush line. The officials will have a disc or some sort of marker 7 yards back from the line of scrimmage. Any defender that wants to rush the quarterback has to start behind that 7-yard marker. Another question with this was how many people can rush the quarterback at 7 yards back? Your entire defensive team can be behind that 7-yard marker and rush the team if they want. There's no limit on how many people can rush and can't rush. I know that was a huge question last year at the Northeast tournament. All 5 players on the field can rush as long as they start 7 yards back. The time of our games, we're going to, again, try to keep consistent, pending change on the facility. We'll have 2 20-minute running clocks. 1 minute end of each half, we'll stop the clock, 3-minute halftime, and then 1 timeout per half. The overtime rule is pretty basic. Each team starts at midfield and they get 2 downs. Each team has a chance to play. Whoever has the most yardage wins. If the first team scores on the first play, the other team must score on that first play to keep the game going, and we'll go till we have a winner. Does anyone have any questions on the rules, the main points of emphasis that I just went over, or any questions in general on rules?
You said we can use 3 flags, no 2 flags, right?
No, you have to use the flags that each player has on has to be one set of flags, and the flags have to be connected. They can't individually connect to the belt. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they go around the athlete and then they fasten, right?
Yeah, so the flag belt itself will fasten, but the 3 flags that are on the belt must be connected to the belt. They can't come off.
Oh, okay.
They make
so there's no 2 flags, but you want them to have 3 flags, right?
They have to have 3 flags, 2 on the side, 1 on the back.
Okay, gotcha.
And again, if you guys don't have them, please contact us. We can get you guys some ASAP.
Okay. I may need some.
Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Steve. I have a question. If you have an injury on the field and the player leaves the field, you can still play with 4, or do you have to put 1 in right away to replace that one?
Are you asking if we'll stop the game or to bring someone in?
Right. When you got your players on the field, one player injured.
Yeah.
Now, what I've been reading, you can play with 4. Is that still going to be the rule?
As long as the player's not in harm's way. So, for example, if someone falls in the offensive backfield and the play is way ahead of them, we can continue the play as long as they're out of harm's way. If the officials or the tournament director, aka regional manager or state director, feel that the player will be in harm's way, the referee will blow the whistle and will stop it. So it's going to be a judgment call at that time.
Gotcha.
Steve, also, I think you're also maybe asking, once let's say we stop the game, you take out that player, you're saying you either don't have another player to put in. Can you play with 4? And the answer is yes, you can play with 4. You just cannot play with 3, I believe. Is that right, Chop?
Yeah, you can't play with 3, but you can play with 4.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Anything else, guys? All right, thank you.
Okay, awesome. All right, and then you can see any of the rules that you may need. There's a rules cheat sheet that I just was referencing. There's also our Special Olympics Colorado flag football rule interps, and then there's the Special Olympics North America rules as well. So in terms of what you should look at, I would look at the SOCO rule interps and then kind of reference the cheat sheet, because that really emphasizes the questions that we get most often, or the instances that come up most often, and it's easier to read, it's more concise, it should give you kind of more what you need and what you want.
This is, Charlie, which one was that again? What form was that again? What form can you look at?
Yeah, it's a SOCO flag football rule interpretations.
Oh, the interpretation one?
Yeah, and then there's a rules cheat sheet that is maybe even more concise.
Okay.
And that's what I just had. It's in the coach handbook on the website. It's just listed as rules cheat sheet. And if you guys need any of these forms, if they're not easy for you to pull off the website, go ahead and contact your regional manager. They can send you the PDF of anything that you may need. Next on the agenda is we'll talk about upcoming coaches clinics. We'd love to have you guys attend one in your region if you have one. Right now we just have two set. One is coming up on Monday at 5:15 to 7:30. This is a little bit different time than maybe what was communicated in the past. That one will be in Fort Collins at City Park. Again, August 20th, 5:15 to 7:30 in Fort Collins at City Park. And that one will be, when you get to City Park, it's on the corner of Mulberry and South Bryan Street. And then August 21st from 6 to 8 o'clock at O'Connell Middle School in Lakewood is the second one. And again, you can find those on our website under the Coach Resource section.
Do you guys ever have it at Springs?
We're trying to get one in the Springs. We haven't been able to nail that down yet, I don't think.
Okay.
So we would like to. We were trying to get that to happen. So if we can find, what we're trying to do in the other regions is to have it during somebody's practice. So if you have a practice, if you have a team, we want to make it as real life as possible, and I think sometimes it's best to have athlete partners, coaches, everybody right there. So if you guys have any good leads on that, either the end of August, beginning of September, let us know. We would love to come down and run one.
Okay.
And then there's a Principals of Coaches clinic in Fruita at the Fruita Community Center on August 25th from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. All right, moving on to the all-important medical application in Class A's. Just so you guys know, your regional managers have sent you an email. They sent it at the end of July with all of the basically players, athlete partners that you had on your team last year. If you have any additional players on your team this year, they won't know that to be able to tell you if they need a medical application or a Class A. So if you have additional names that were not on your roster last year, please let your regional manager know. If you have not received that email, please reach out to your regional manager because they are under the assumption that you have it. Again, we're trying to get this information out to you much earlier. We sent it about 5 weeks prior to a possible start to your season, so you can make sure that you're in communication with parents, caregivers, athletes to be able to get those updated and to give you a little bit extra time before the regionals come around. Just a reminder, we're getting about 60% of the medical applications that come in, which prior to big events, we'll get 100 applications a week or more that we have to get through our system and process. And we're getting a lot of them that are incomplete. They either don't have a doctor's physical, they don't have a date of birth, don't have something really important. Please, when you talk to your athletes and caregivers, parents, make sure you tell them they have to schedule a sports physical or a doctor's physical so they know that that's part of the application to participate. The more complete we can get those, the easier they are to process, the more we can move on and get them even completed faster. So like I said, right now we have about 60% that are incomplete that we can't process, that we're having to go back through. They're in boxes. So please, please, please have them send it to you. You can look over it. Have them send it to the regional manager. The regional manager can look over it prior to it coming to our to the Denver office where we process them. So more that you can help with that, the better. It would sure help everybody out, I think. And then we have our Class A online, as I alluded to a little bit ago. If you have to renew that, click on that link, and that should take you through everything that you need to do, and obviously fill out that background check online as well. Any questions with medical application, Class A's?
Are kids able to use their physicals that they may have needed for school?
Yes, they can, as long as they're within the year. So if they got them last year, they're going to have to get a new one this year. But if they get a new one, you know, if they got a new one over the summer and they're playing flag football, yes, they can definitely use that sports physical.
Okay.
Great question. All right. Moving on, I want to talk real quickly, since we're talking medical application, about health and wellness. We've started a couple new programs, and one of them being kind of a fitness captain programming, where we go in and what we need is we need from coaches athletes that they think have great leadership skills or have enough leadership skills to be able to teach and to mentor and to help them in the areas of kind of health and wellness and leading maybe your dynamic warm-up, taking the team through nutrition tips that we would help them with. And so what we're trying to do right now is we've trained about 40 in the past year. If you have a fitness captain, hopefully they've been able to help your team and really give them some ownership and some leadership. One of the things that we've been charged with at Special Olympics Colorado and really Special Olympics International is to continue to create that athlete leadership throughout the country, throughout the nation. And this is one of the ways that we're trying to help our athletes continue to learn what leadership is and really just help them. And starting small, we think this is a great way to start small and having them, you know, learn how to take your team through some sort of dynamic warm-up at the start of practice and really get them to understand some of those things. So if you know of somebody on your team that you would love to have go through this year-long training, and we, in this program, we do a pretty good job of getting the trainings to them. So last year we did a training in Broomfield. We did one in Fort Collins. We did one in Arvada. We did one in Colorado Springs, in Pueblo, in Grand Junction, in Pagosa Springs, Denver, and Inglewood. So we'll take the trainings to them. They don't have to travel or anything like that. So please let us know if you have athletes that would like to be in that program. And yeah, it's a kind of a health and wellness program is moving, and I think Chop will talk a little bit about what we're going to add to the state games this year.
Yeah, Linda, you want to go ahead and pull up that CSU map again, and I'll walk through that as well real quick.
Yep.
So for our state games, guys, pretty basic stuff. There'll be more information to come on most of this, but we're gonna have an opening ceremonies at 8:30 a.m. I know that's early, and it's gonna be a drive for some people since it's in the Great Northeast now. CSU is super excited to host, and they've done a lot of work and prep to get ready for this. We've been having meetings since March of last year, so they're super geeked for it. So we encourage everyone to come, please, if you can, for opening ceremonies, even if you play later in the day. That being said, we will have things for you to do. We're working on hopefully having like some sort of Olympic town there. So we have some activities, so it'll keep athletes busy. And we'll have our healthy athletes built into the schedule. Our focus that day is going to be opening eyes. And that will be, you want to pull up the map real quick, Linda? As you can see on the map, when you guys take a look at this, I know we only have a handful on the computer. It's going to be right where the arrow is on there. It's right next to the fields. It's a pretty great setup, as you guys can see. So that'll be kind of scheduled into the day. So there'll be plenty for you guys to do, even for you playing later in the day. So please, 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 please come for opening ceremonies. We're going to make this a huge event field type as we can. So as you can see, we got 6 fields on the IM fields at CSU. There's actually going to be a NERSA regional there that weekend as well. So we're going to have NERSA officials officiating our event, which is going to be super great. And then as you guys can see in the top left corner of the map, the main parking area is right off Shield Street. This is the easiest route to go. There will be parking on campus in some spots, but they couldn't get us 24 hours in non-ticketed parking. So please just focus on that aspect of the area. As Linda said, it will be on November 3rd. I believe entries are due. Do you want to go back to that other page, Linda? Sorry.
Entries will just be due for the, we'll get the entries to Susan.
Yeah,
They're
we'll
going to
get
mark that on the entry form.
Yeah, and what we've been doing recently, just to make it easier on you guys, is the regional manager will just submit the roster directly to Susan. So if we have any changes, just talk to your regional manager so you don't have to fill out a form again. But again, it'll be on November 3rd. We'll be in contact with you at each regional tournament just to confirm that you guys are coming to state or not, as well as mark that on your entry forms. I'm not sure if Ben touched on that or not. So even if it's a maybe, please put yes, and then we will follow up with you. And then for those of you that do have young athlete programs or young athletes interested, Mandy will be hosting a young athletes program earlier in that morning as well. There'll be more information on that, but we encourage you guys all to really make the trip up to Fort Collins. The Northeast is super proud to host this event. And like I said, CSU's put in a lot of work to really make this special. So do you guys have any questions on state so far? Awesome, thank you.
All right, that is all the information that we had for you all, but we are happy to entertain any questions that you guys might have. At this point, we'll take any state questions or any region-specific questions about your regional events or anything else that we might be able to help you out with. Also, if you are in need of additional assistant coaches or partners, go ahead and stay on the line and we can take those names down and we can try to find you some additional partners and coaches as well. So thanks for those of you that are going to be leaving us. We appreciate you being on the call. We hope it's going to be a great flag football season. It's one of our favorite sports at Special Olympics Colorado. It's such a fun one to coach and for the athletes to play. So great job for you guys in your facilities and getting ready to get started. So thanks a lot for being on the call and for coaching this season.
I have a question regarding coaches and assistant coaches.
Yep.
This is Coach Keith with Grand Junction Gators.
Yep.
I have a question.
Okay.
Did you guys change that rule where there was where you had the handoff, or can you do pitchbacks? Last year you couldn't do pitchbacks. Was you guys going to change that rule where you could do pitchbacks?
No, nope. We don't allow pitchbacks. They got to be handoffs, so no lateral.
Okay.
All passes have to be
you guys
in
were
front
talking
of the
about
line of
that
scrimmage.
You were talking about it last year, and I didn't know if that rule had changed or not.
Yeah, we looked at it, but we decided to keep it.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks. All right, we'll see you.
You guys have a good one. Bye.
You too.
I have a few coaches who are trying to get processed and into Special Olympics, so we can get into the coaches and get the emails and get as far ahead as the last gentleman who's already got a team set up and stuff. I think Georgia David maybe she triggers the background checks or does the next process. But is there anyone? I think we're kind of being held up at an early stage, and now I'm getting terrified now that I've seen all the forms required.
Yeah. Who is this?
I think she's gone until the end of this week. So, I mean, every day kind of counts at this point.
Yeah. Who is this?
Jason Pickerel.
Nathan. Okay. What team are you with?
About Kids. which you've never heard of because we have to get past the background check part. It's only been a week, but we've already got 3 coaches for each team, one for bowling in Pueblo,
Awesome.
one for bowling in Springs, one for flag football in each city, and one for volleyball in each city. We've already got the bowling lanes reserved and whatever else. Like, we're way ahead of ourselves as far as getting players and
you've
coaches.
done all the hard work.
But we're miles behind on paperwork, so we're kind of really behind. And personally, I hate paperwork. So
well, you got to find an assistant coach that will do that for you.
Right.
So
I'm trying to get past that point, and I've got a lot of people excited about this.
Yep.
I feel like I'm going to fail them for the fall season.
No, we're plenty fine. Those background checks go through fairly quickly. So we'll put a asterisk. I don't know. Does Michelle or do we have a list of those folks that we can make sure we find?
Yeah, I just got from a fellow friend who's like, oh, you have to do some coaching stuff. So Karen Egan sent me some information on you have to go here and trigger the background check and fill them out. So I haven't even sent my assistant coaches to do that stuff yet. I'm just waiting for mine to get done so I could say, here's like.
Yeah. Yep.
And then
I lost you,
the
Nathan.
team going, and then I'm still here. Yeah.
Yeah. So So if you can, have you been in contact with Michelle Peters down there?
Yeah, I met her and talked to her. Yeah.
Okay, so she has that link. It's super easy, and once they do it, it goes through there's a confirmation email that they're going to get, and you should have gotten one too. You should get 2 confirmation emails when you go through that Class A process that says, "Hey, we got it. Thanks for submitting this." And so if all else fails, if you have that, you have until really the regional to get this in. But we like to have what I tell my kids is, and our team is that if you can get this to me by the second practice, then I know we're good to go. So if you want to connect with her and pull names, and then what we can do is get them all the links that they need, and then we can watch for those as they come through our system, and then send you an email that, hey, they're good to go. They should also get that email when they're cleared as well.
Okay. And what are the flash words? So email Michelle. What are the flash words? She sent me to Georgia, but Georgia's I think out for the week. But what are the flash words I should email Michelle? Hey, send me a link for Class A coaching, please, or. Yep,
exactly. Yep, Class A, and then that'll include everything they need. That will include concussion. It will include background. You said you just did that, right?
Well, it didn't take long. I just watched the 20-minute video, and then I built out the background. That was it. It wasn't very much.
Exactly, and that's all they're going to have to do, the exact same thing. So it's pretty easy, and it will come through. We get those processed very quickly. Michelle, or I think George gets back, midweek this week. So you should be good to go by early next week. She'll pull that list and get that to Michelle.
Oh, okay,
but I would go ahead and have all your other coaches do that same exact link.
Okay, will do. Thanks.
Okay. And then Nathan, with the paperwork, are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle can come. Yeah, Michelle can come down and just take you through step-by-step process of how to do that. Are you in Pueblo or Colorado Springs?
Well, teams in both, but I'm in Springs. I'm not too far from our office. Okay. I know where it is. I dropped by there once before.
Okay. So that paperwork looks daunting, but as long as you have some important information and kind of understand, the medical application will be a lot harder than the Class A's if you have some new athletes. So that's going to be what we need to get on pretty quickly if you have some new athletes that haven't participated in the past. But the paperwork stuff, the entry forms, all of those things, as long as you have their date of birth, which is on their medical application, then it should be fairly easy to fill out those forms.
Oh yeah, I have everyone's date of birth already. Yeah, they're all patients of mine.
Yeah,
so I've got
perfect.
All that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so then that's you're way ahead of the game.
Okay. Cool.
Linda?
Well, thank you again.
Yep.
I wanted to ask real quick. It's Mary. Jason and I work together, but listen to him asking some questions. Kind of brought up, hey, how's it going? Kind of brought up some questions for me. So our kiddos can't practice without having those physicals and all that paperwork in, correct? Or is that incorrect?
Well, yes. So basically, the medical application is going to, if something were to happen to them at a practice, and basically Special Olympics can help take care of that insurance-wise. If they don't have any paperwork and something happens, then we can't help in any fashion. So what we would, and then Class A, we really want our coaches to have their Class A, because if something were to happen to you guys, or you were to do something and to an athlete, or something happened, like, accidentally, again, we could not help you. Versus if you have a Class A, we can step in and we have insurance, and that's part of our insurance policy. So that really is the biggest part. What I would do, if you have athletes, and I've done this, there is a waiver form as a part of that medical application. So on our website, are you on the computer version?
No, I'm on my phone right now.
Okay, so any other questions?
I don't think so. I'm done with the questions.
Okay, great.
Hi, my name's Josiah. I coach with Ariel in Grand Junction for the Ariel Angels.
Hi, Josiah. Just saw you at softball.
Cool. So I just started, in like March, so I'm still a little bit kind of lost in everything. And I tried to call in, had some technical difficulties. Is there another time or just like more information that I could get from the website somewhere or something? Because I feel like I'm missing a lot.
Yeah, so Josiah, I recorded this whole conversation. So you should be, we can send you, I'll send it out to the regional managers. Julie, are you still on?
Yes, I'm still here, Josiah.
Okay,
Hi, Josiah.
Hi.
So Julie, maybe you can get that to Josiah as soon as I get that to you guys.
You bet. I'll be happy to
Thanks.
answer any questions.
Cool. Alrighty, that's my last question.
That's it, huh?
The last one I can put into words.
All right, if there are no other questions, we're going to sign off. Thank you guys for being on.
Thanks, Linda. Thanks,
All right.
Scott.
Yep, we'll see you.
Have a good
Okay,
day.
talk to you tomorrow night. Bye.